I'm stuck. I feel heavy, heavier than normal. I can hardly breathe. The room is filled with silence. And yet, at the same time, there are unfamiliar sounds around me. Bleeps, dripping noises, his raspy breathing. I hardly recognize him. Hollow eyes. I'm scared to move and hold my breath. And then all of a sudden, my granddad opens his eyes. He starts to speak, and I hear nothing. After his operation, he is completely speechless. His voice is gone. With a weakened arm, he searches and finds a grey writing board. And with the magnetic pen, he starts to write. I stand there and know the words he's going to show me. As he turns the board and I read the words, I shiver. Little did I know that this was only the beginning of my journey to where I am right now, talking to you about Live Your Inner Voice. Welcome to you all. My name is Janneke Kemner. I'm a systemic therapist and counselor, and questions I usually get in my practice are, how can I connect to my inner voice, to what I want, to what I need, and why I am here for? And why is it not only so difficult for me to connect to my inner voice, but also to share it with others? I've spent the last 3 years researching this phenomenon, and I'm still learning every day. So I'd like to meet for a moment and see where you are at when it comes to living your inner voice and where you're from. I would like to ask some questions that are much easier to answer than the question, what is your inner voice? So please raise your hand if you sometimes say yes, but actually think no. Yeah, thank you. And please raise your hand if you are born outside of Spain. I'm from Rotterdam, the Netherlands, which instantly reminds us, no matter how much we think of the inner voice as a personal matter, there's also a family legacy and a cultural legacy. So let's go a little bit deeper. Please raise your hand if you've had a falling out with a family member because you felt you couldn't be you. And raise your hand if the first thing you touch in the morning or the last thing you touch in the evening is your phone. Yeah. These are just some normal questions, but what you might want to consider for yourself is, if you are someone who ducks away in your devices, or you say yes when you actually think no, then you might not truly be living your inner voice. Let me share with you in a nutshell what the inner voice is to me. It's all about deep listening, having the courage to really go within and become self-aware, to connect to the body and the heart and listen to the whisperers of what isn't said. And that also means diving deeper and connecting to what might not always be so easy to meet within yourself. And after having made the connection and becoming aware, of course, you need to express your unique voice without judgment, freely. And this isn't what we always do, is it? Share our opinion when it's different to the opinion of a group. Speak out when we know our voice won't be applauded. Or share our voice when we feel vulnerable. Here you see me in my early years holding a microphone. I was so inspired by the story of my granddad, and I saw so many people having difficulties expressing themselves that I thought, I can fix this. I'm going to solve this problem. So I became a speech therapist, and I helped thousands of people reconnect to their voice after brain surgery, stutterers, after accidents, and also people who lost their voice instantly whilst physically everything was just fine. And it raised a question. How does this work? How can someone have difficulty speaking out when physically everything is just fine? It was the starting point of my journey to more study. I studied Western studies where what you think determines how you feel, and Eastern studies where you learn that how you feel and connect to the inner world has an impact on what you think. And I was wondering, which of these is the most helpful if you want to really live your inner voice? And what I've found, of course, is that we need both. We need to connect within, dive deeper, reframe, rephrase, and then bring what we have found out. It's a little bit like breathing, going in and out, in a rhythm, in a flow. And the outside can go in the same flow. And I felt I was really on track. But then, all of a sudden, I was speechless myself. It had nothing to do with my work. It had nothing to do with my physical health. It was all about my personal life. Was being married and mother of 2 children, I had fallen in love with a mutual friend, the husband of my friend. And I almost choked. I did not know how to speak out. I was afraid of hurting feelings, afraid for the consequences, afraid of being judged. And to be honest, I judged myself, and I was unfaithful to myself. The walls broke down, and the conversations took place between my husband and myself. We spoke like never before, and we listened like never before. It was pure, it was real, it was rough. After opening up, I found out that we are all speechless to a certain extent at a given moment. Our inner dialogue, all the voices in our head connected to our ego, tries to keep us safe, in the comfort zone, in the illusion of the comfort zone. We long for inclusion. We want to fit in, into our family system, into the groups we belong to, our friends, our colleagues. And what do you think happens if you are connected to the inner dialogue you're having in your head, but not connected to the inner voice as well, when your ego is standing a little bit too much in the way? It can be anything, but what I find in my practice is that people are restless and tired, that they feel unhappy and down, that they are indecisive and feel stuck. It's the inner voice that invites you to go deeper, beyond to your inner truth, to your inner self. And that's easier said than done, but worth the ride, because there it is clear, calm and quiet. That's how you know you've hit home. And the good thing is you can return to that place over and over again. So this is the feeling you will have. But what is the inner voice? It's hard to define what cannot be seen. Yet we all have a sense of what the inner voice is. Sometimes I borrow from the Queen. Oprah Winfrey describes the inner voice as your emotional GPS system that allows you to make the best decisions for yourself. And I fully agree with her. If you make the best decisions for yourself, you can serve others and be of service to life. But how do you do that? How do you connect to your inner voice, your emotional GPS system? Well, first of all, you have to have the courage and be prepared to be clueless. Most of us don't like to be clueless. But the inner voice doesn't come with a clear manual. And it unfolds step by step. The courage is needed to be prepared to speak out a different voice than the groups you belong to. I describe it as it's a bit like walking in the fog. You only know what you will meet at the next corner by taking the step that you're taking right now. Of course, you need to have the tools to connect and contemplate on what you have found. Research has shown that the most common methods people use to connect to their inner voice are methods that lower the brain frequency from beta waves to alpha waves. The beta waves are connected to our routines and daily activities, the things we have already learned and know. And the alpha waves allow us to relax, activating and making it possible to connect to intuition and creativity. So we want to change our brain waves. And you can do this in different manners. You can do this all by yourself, and most of you probably do so every now and then, or maybe every day. It's all about slowing down, by yourself, for instance, meditating, walking in nature, staring in an open fire. You can slow down in relation to other people. Talk to really good listeners. And please be that really good listener as well. And you can slow down and connect to your own body. Learn the signals your body gives you and learn to sense how your body communicates from within. So, having the courage, being clueless, connecting and contemplating is inner work. But the voice wants to be expressed, and therefore you need to communicate clearly, honest, and with compassion. And by doing so, you add to making the world a better place. We are all speechless to a certain extent at a given moment of time. And we all have the 3 words my granddad wrote down on the grey writing board in common. Let me take you back to the hospital. I know the words he's going to show me. As he turns the writing board, I shiver. What I read is, I am scared. Yes, I'm scared. We are all scared every now and then. And my question to you is, what are you going to do as of today to overcome your fear and express your unique voice and share it with all around you? Thank you very much for listening to me. I look forward to meeting you and connecting to you, but most of all, to connect to your inner voice. Thank you very much.